Hello, we are Batel and Gal, and we are third years business and management student at Rופין College. As a part of our final semester, we took the course of Israel Society, Economy and Business by Dr. Shושני. Our final assignment on this course was to find a company that we think will succeed if they will come to Israel. We choose Kaanupi Group Corporation as the company we would like to invite to Israel. Kaanupi Group Corporation is the leading and the biggest company in the world for producing and manufacturing and marketing medical cannabis and its products. The company was founded in Canada and operates also in Europe, Africa, and South America. The medical cannabis market in Israel is going under various reforms which cause a decrease in quality. At the 17th of October 2018, the Canadian government encouraged a full legalization of the cannabis plant. Due to this decision, Kaanupi Group Corporation became the leading company in the world for producing, manufacturing, and marketing medical cannabis and its products. The company was founded in 2013 in Canada, in were originally called Tweed. The owners were Bruce Linton and Chuck Riffisi, and he get its current name in 2015 after a merge with another Canadian company. As we mentioned before, the company also operates at Europe, Africa, and South America. In May 2018, the company began trading on the New York stock market. Since then, the company continued to grow and positioned itself as the largest company in the world. As of March 31, 2020, the company recorded a total income of $439,666,000 Canadian dollar.
Yes. As for January 2021, the stock is traded for 30.61 Canadian dollars per share. It's a pretty high stake. The company's value is estimated at 9 billion shekels. Despite the coronavirus, the company's stock stayed stable and even growth a little bit in the past few months. You can see here the stock goes down a little bit when the coronavirus starts, and then it stabilizes itself to the point where they gain again, and they reach like their highest records ever. Kaanupi shows stability and consistency in its revenue statements. It can be seen that on the table to the left, from year to year, the company increases its revenues, and in the last year, it has reached a peak that is only accepted to continue to grow. Here you can see it. The total income each year grows from 16 to 20. From 0.56 it became 5.44. That's like 800%. That's crazy. The stick graph shows a forecast for the growth of the global cannabis market by 2024. This is the graph that I'm talking about, and predicts a big growth in this market. So in our opinion, this market is going to just get bigger and bigger and become stronger. The graph to the left represents the sales rate of the medical cannabis companies in Canada. It can be seen that the past year has shown a significant growth in the market and forecasts a future where the trend will continue and strengthen. Here you can see it.
Okay, in Israel. Israel is one of the countries when the percent of cannabis use is among the highest in the world. According to the studies, more than 20% of the population in the country represented that they use cannabis of any kind. The Israeli industry is winking in the direction of leisure, but continues to maintain its phenomenal success in the field of medical cannabis. The legal market,
here you can see it,
about 300 million enters the economy each year for sales of legal medical cannabis. In the illegal market, amounts of something like 7-8 billion shekels are rolled over in this market, in which cannabis is traded on all kinds of distribution platform without a license and without any ability to maintain the quality of the material.
Yeah.
Despite great success in the field, governments and health ministry reforms have abhorred the quality of the market, and a large number of bad customers reviewed were recorded.
Yeah. Here you can see some of the political and some of the economic statements and the point of views. I'll start with the political aspects. About the political aspects, you can see that the cannabis is illegal in Israel and there is a strict regulation regarding illegal use. The state imposes fines and penalties and even opens criminal records for illegal consumers. Israel is expanding ties and trade agreements for import and export with countries around the world. There are many reasons for non-legalization in Israel, one of which is the elite's approach and the interests of wealthy people, companies, and government. You can hear it a lot of times recently when they talk about Hon Shilton and they talk about Bibi and the Tzolelot and the submarines and the gas and Tshuva. You can see that there is a lot of cooperation between powerful players in the game, and it leads the market very unstable. Another political aspect is that two Israeli parties are clearly state that they are in favor of the legalization and support the pluralistic approach and gives the citizens the freedom to choose. The Alei Yarok party and the Zehut party, both of them are practically saying we think it's good and we think it should be legalized, and this is one of their main things they want to deal with when they enter the Knesset. About the economic aspects, the demand for cannabis consumption in Israel is growing during the Corona days. The illegal consumer market is huge, as Batel talked about. We're talking about 300 million for the legal market and 78 billion shekels for the illegal. So imagine what will happen if we legalize the illegal market. Israeli companies are declining revenues due to a low quality product line. We talked about it and we'll talk about it again. The reforms are causing the companies to decrease the quality of the product, and there are a lot of consumers, legal consumers, that needs the medical cannabis that are not getting the product that they're thinking they're going to get. So it practically doesn't fix their problem or help them at all. The state of Israel is one of the countries with the highest ratio of smokers in relation to the size of the population. It means that for every 100 people, more people in Israel will be smoking out of the 100 than most of other countries. It means that we have a lot of people that needs it, but a lot of people to use it just to have fun.
Okay, so why they need to come to Israel? First, the state of Israel is an example of an economy that over the years has shifted from a centralized economy to a socialist conceptation from the days of Ben Gurion, for example, to a free economy. Therefore, the return of investment in the country has gone up. Second, economically liberalization. Israel is becoming more and more liberal over the years. Less restrictions and more democratic. In countries which are liberalization trend, it's worth investing in and entering the market in them. They can succeed more than other companies. Third, the pluralization is a respect for the multiplicity of human voices and its diverse expressions, and is one of the central value of democracy. And the last reason, complicity services. In the state of Israel, there is a complicitory services law. Young fighters and 18 and over experience an Israeli reality that includes operation and wars, which it comes the post-trauma, in which cannabis is one of the most effective and effective medical.
Yes, nice. So about the growth in Israel, you can see that the Israeli shekel, the currency, is very, very strong in relation to the other currencies. I don't know if you can see it, but here it states that the shekel is one of the highest and strongest currencies in the world. By forecasts, Israel is gonna be the first region of the 37 developing countries that is going to be the biggest growth in the future. In the last few years, Israel has been making progress towards expanding peace agreements with countries around the world, and in general in the Western countries in particular. A recent event that strongly instruments this is the signing of peace agreement with the Emirates and Bahrain. This projected to add nearly 1 billion a year to Israel. This is an increase of about 25% to the GDP every year in the coming years, which means that our cooperation and peace agreements with countries around us allow us to grow the economy in a big significant way. According to the cannabis in Israel, here you can see that the American market actually, and it shows the forecast of the growth of the market in the past few years, and the forecast is only until 2025, but if it would have continued, you would have continued to see the growth. The market in the USA represents like a microcosmos to the global market. Usually trends that are getting stable in USA comes to Israel a few years later. Here you can see that the potential of the market is talked about 600 million shekels, which means twice the market right now. And in our opinion, the potential is way higher. There are currently now 46,000 people that are getting treated with medical cannabis, and if there will be legalization, the numbers will grow. Here you can see that all over Israel, the concept of medical cannabis really begin to get stronger, and all over the country we have Israeli companies trying to make, produce, and market a better material than the other companies. As we said before, and we'll mention again, the companies are getting weaker, and there are a lot of responses that are not very good, and it's harming the way towards success. Here I'll present some of the issues or the challenges, the main challenges for a company when coming to Israel. The key challenges and solutions are, according to the data published in the news, the law will be approved by the government within a short time of 9 months. A process of non-discrimination that will eventually lead to full legalization. According to the sources, the political system, the chances of this law passing in the Knesset is very high. In recent months, the second one, you can see in recent months, there has been much criticism and quality of the medical cannabis products in Israel. The public cannabis companies in Israel, which were traded at a record of 5.04 billion shekels, opened this year, the 2020 year, with a write-off of 2.42 billion shekels, which means almost half. The market image has been severely damaged, and the company's entry may be difficult at first, but with stability and high quality product that we know that Kaanupi produces, the company will overtake the Israeli companies eventually, and will begin to be stable in the local market. The company has many Israeli competitors, including Tikkun Olam, Intercure, and Medical Group, which provides the same services at a similar costs. The main competitors are currently in decline, and it is just the time to penetrate the market and try to take over it. Thanks to the name, experience, and the power of this company, the Kaanupi company, we can believe it can take all over the world. The last one. Since ancient times, the Jewish people, our people, the people who live in Israel, are suffering from anti-Semitism and free hatred by ancient kingdoms and ancient people. And till this day, the Arabs and the Muslims are having a really hard time on Israel. You can see also the organization BDS. It tries to harm Israel in various ways and tries to hurt the image of the state. Despite this, and despite all what we talked about, most Western countries recognizes Israel as a democratic and entrepreneurial state that develops its Western culture, the Western culture, the American culture, and progresses and continues to reach peace agreements and to gain recognition from countries all over the world. Many examples of high-end startup, high-tech startup companies sold to the world giants prove that the potential inherited in this small country is pretty big. Here you can see, it's actually, we found this one this morning. We started following pages related and connected to cannabis and medical cannabis, and just this morning in the morning talk show with Gilad, you can see someone standing with a sign saying that I'll read it in Hebrew. הבוקר בתוכנית עולם הבוקר הופיע בחלון מאחורי אברי גלעד מטופל קנאביס רפואי שסובל, כמו רבבות אחרים, מהרפורמות הכושלות בענף. יואב קיש, האחראי על התחום והבטיח גדולות, השתתק, לא עונה למטופלים, לא עושה שום דבר כדי לעמוד בשורת הבטחות שהעניקו לו כותרות ענק בכל העיתונים. בושה גדולה למפלגת הליכוד. Article from this morning saying that the reforms aren't working, and this is basically why we need Kaanupi over here in Israel.
Okay. In conclusion, the state of Israel is known as a state that advocates democracy and economic liberalization. It's not by a chance that we are called the Israeli startup nation. In Israel, there is a growing trend in the population that advocates a liberal view of soft drug use. A country which many soldiers suffering from post-trauma and a culture of leisure consumption that shows a sharp trend of an increase in the demand of quality cannabis. And there is a trend of co-optation in the country when those some voices who called for the introduction of cannabis into the law were placed on honorable lists of the in the Knesset, and even opened partial on the paradoxicity of the ultimate goals, legalization, which hits at the future and huge potential of this market in Israel. Yours can be a significant part of it.
Thank you very much.